Hi folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, I'm going to start my reports this week talking about the April 1st trout opening because this is something, again, it was a big part of my life as a kid. I think about it. I don't do it much anymore, but I think there's things that you should know about. First of all, April 1st is not a great time to go trout fishing. I don't care. If you love it, then, well, that's wonderful. Go out there, but the water's going to be high, cold, dirty. I mean, this is the norm. Everything can change. We could have a wonderful summer-like condition over the next period of time, but I doubt that's going to happen. So there's things that you ought to know. If you're going to go fishing in the beginning of trout season, I think it's important that you realize those trout are going to be suffering through the cold. Even though trout like cold, I mean, they like colder conditions than other warm water species, like all of them that we talk about all the time. But they still, they're they're a cold-blooded being, and their movements are going to be slower, and their eating activities are going to be slower, and they're not going to want to be in the current. They want to be back in the pools and so forth. The best thing to use in my mind is, if you're going to do this, is use live bait. But let's look at something else that I think is important, and that is the stocking program that New York State does, because so many of our trout streams are dependent on the fish being replenished by stocking trucks. And New York State DEC has a schedule, and I think this is something that any of you that want to fish trout at all should be aware of. You can go on your phone and you can Google New York State stocking schedule, for example, and that's going to take you right to the DEC's list, and they have it all published and made out and planned so that you can take every county in the state, and they break it down and tell you when they're going to be stocking, where they're going to be stocking, what they're going to be stocking. In other words, they're going to say, let's just take as an example where I grew up in Allegheny County. It was in the town of Wellsville. So you can go on this list. You can look up Allegheny County. Then you'll see in Wellsville, they're planning to stock the streams in April because it's a lot milder just going down a couple hundred miles to the southern part of our state. So you can do the same thing up here. You can go St. Lawrence County. You can find the waters like the St. Regis water over in Nickelville, or some of the other smaller streams, and the lakes, the little lakes in our area that have trout. And it will tell you exactly when they're going to stock it, what they're going to stock it with. Is it going to be brown trout or rainbow trout? How many they're going to put in the time they go there, and the size of the fish that they're going to stock. And there's really two criterions. Most of the fish are going to be between 8 and 12 inches long that they stock. Probably more of them closer to 8 than 12. But then they have other days they go and they'll stock 15-inch fish. And that's the day that you really want to know about if you want to catch one of these bigger trout. So I think it's important to realize all these things. Most of the stocking in our area in St. Lawrence County is going to take place in May. Now, that's quite a difference from downstate where they're already going to be stocking. Right now, as I'm speaking, probably they're stocking some of the streams and getting them ready for the April 1st opening. That's a big deal in the land of fishing, in the land of dreams. I've told you before, there were 2 days of the year that I couldn't sleep at night as a kid. Christmas Eve, no way could I sleep, and the night before the April 1st trout opening. There's no way. I'd lay in bed. I'd keep looking at the clock. And finally, 3:30 or 4 in the morning, I would get up. My mom and dad would let me go out, and I'd go down to the river in the pitch dark, put my line out, and it would start my season. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.